Social media was never about freedom. It was built for surveillance. Shoshana Zuboff. Before we begin, here's a small ritual. Write in the comments one word that accurately describes your current state. Sign it, and let's get started. You don't enter a social network to find peace. You enter because something inside you is restless. You want to escape, to see something new, to feel something, anything. And the app welcomes you. It's smooth, fast, endless. But the moment you open it, you are no longer alone. You're being watched, not in a paranoid sci-fi way, in a very real, coded corporate way. Social media is not a neutral tool. It's not a helpful gadget made to serve you. It's a system built to extract attention. That's the product. That's the currency. Not your photos, not your thoughts, your attention. Every second you spend inside is profit for someone else. Every scroll is a small donation of your energy. They don't care about your happiness. They care about your presence. They don't want you to feel better. They want you to stay. That's the real goal. Keep you here, inside, engaged, addicted. The platforms are designed to trigger your brain. Thousands of people work every day to perfect this trap. Engineers, psychologists, behavioral experts, not to help you heal, not to help you grow, but to maximize one single thing: how long you stay on the app. It's not about content. It's about behavior. It's about patterns. They measure everything. How fast you scroll, where your eyes pause, what colors catch you, what sounds hold you. Then they feed it back to you. Curated, personalized, addictive. They create a loop. You enter, you get hit with something that spikes your brain, you react, you want more. You don't leave. You think you're in control. You think you're just browsing. But every tap, every swipe, every delay is exactly what they wanted you to do. You are being programmed, not forced, guided, nudged, steered, like water following a channel. And it works, because what they really manipulate isn't your screen. It's your emotions, your boredom, your loneliness, your need to be seen, your fear of missing out, your need for distraction. They offer relief, but it's not real. It's a drug, a quick hit, a digital cigarette. And like all addictions, it doesn't fix the root. It only feeds the surface. There's no accident here. The moment you open that app, thousands of invisible systems begin working on you. Not for you, on you. This isn't about connecting people. It's about collecting people, gathering them, herding them, keeping them locked in a loop where the only winner is the platform. You're not the client. You're the product. You are what's being sold. You were never supposed to win here. The second you open the app, something activates. Algorithms don't sleep. They don't guess. They calculate. They measure every twitch of your attention like a heat-seeking missile. Thousands of engineers, marketers, neuroscientists, they're not working to help you find inspiration. They're working to predict you, to shape you. The platform is not waiting for you to decide what to click. It already knows. Before you scroll, it knows what you'll stop on. Before you think, it knows what you'll feel. You are not a user. You're a subject in a lab, wrapped in code, monitored second by second. What you like, what you avoid, what colors make you pause, what faces make you stay longer, what topics light you up or shut you down. It watches, it learns, and then it adjusts, not for your benefit, for retention. This is not random. This is science. This is design. They map your behavior and feed it back to you in a more powerful form. A digital mirror that only reflects what keeps you hooked. Your weaknesses become the product. Your pain points are fuel. Your emotional triggers are the keys. They know when you're tired, when you're lonely, when you're angry. And in those moments, they push exactly what will keep you inside. You think you're just scrolling. But it's not a passive act. It's performance. You perform your identity, and the system responds by tightening its grip. It gives you more of what keeps you reactive, anxious, impulsive. Everything is calculated. The delay before a notification, the sound it makes, the way the screen slides, even the color of the like button. Every choice has one goal. Keep your brain in a loop. Dopamine, anticipation, reward, repeat. The longer you stay, the more data they gather, and the more data they have, the easier it is to predict you, until your autonomy is an illusion. You're not choosing what you see. You're being fed what keeps you consuming, what keeps you uncertain, insecure, addicted. People think social media is neutral, that it's just a tool. But a tool doesn't modify your brain. A tool doesn't install new thought patterns. A tool doesn't rewire your nervous system. Social media is not a tool. It's a behavioral control system. It doesn't wait for you to engage. It pulls you in. And once you're in, it molds you. Over time, it shifts how you think, how you feel, how you relate to others and to yourself. You start to crave stimulation, constant novelty, quick answers, fast emotions. You lose the depth. You lose stillness. And most dangerously, you lose the ability to sit with reality. There is nothing accidental about how addicted you feel. The system is designed for it, because your attention is money, your presence is profit, your habits are capital. The longer you're here, the richer they become. The platform doesn't exist for your growth. It exists for your captivity. And it works best when you don't notice, when you think you're just passing time. But time is the cost, and your inner freedom is the price. Social media doesn't just steal your time, it steals your inner strength. The more you scroll, the more you forget how to act without external validation. You begin to feel that if something isn't posted, it didn't happen. That if nobody reacts, it doesn't matter. Slowly, without noticing, your actions become shaped not by your values, but by the potential reaction of an invisible audience. You start filtering your thoughts, your words, your life, not for truth, but for approval. This is not expression, it's performance. And over time, performance replaces authenticity. The real you starts to fade, replaced by a carefully managed image. You become a brand, a profile, a curated version of a human. What's dangerous is that the system rewards this. The more fake you become, the more engagement you get. Outrage wins, drama spreads, shock and spectacle are amplified. You learn the game, you adapt, and with each adaptation, you step further away from your own center. Social media doesn't push you to grow, it pushes you to compete, to compare, to become addicted to feedback. And feedback becomes your compass, not your intuition, not your conscience, not your soul. The emotional cost is brutal. You wake up anxious. You check for likes before checking in with yourself. You feel a strange emptiness when a post performs poorly, and an artificial high when it goes viral. These are not signs of connection. These are symptoms of dependency. Your self-worth becomes tied to invisible metrics, and this creates a silent war inside. One part of you craves to be seen. The other part feels fake, hollow, lost. You start to forget how to feel joy without an audience, how to feel peace without a screen. This dependency is not accidental. It's strategic. The more emotionally unstable you are, the easier you are to keep hooked. The more you chase affirmation, the more predictable your behavior becomes. Platforms don't want your balance. They want your addiction. And the most effective addiction is the one you don't recognize. You think you're just sharing, but you're leaking energy. You're outsourcing identity. You're handing over your agency one post at a time. Power comes from presence, but presence cannot exist when your attention is fractured. When your mind is constantly split between what you are doing and how it will be received. Social media kills this presence. It trains your brain to seek interruption, to crave novelty, to fear silence. And in that silence, where your real voice lives, nothing grows because it's been drowned out by noise. There is a hidden cost, not financial, spiritual. Every hour spent performing online is an hour stolen from your becoming. Every post written for attention is a distraction from your inner alignment. Social media doesn't just take time, it takes potential. The potential to live fully, to create deeply, to connect honestly, and it replaces it with the illusion of relevance. You feel seen, but not known. You feel heard, but not understood. You feel active, but not alive. There is a generation growing up with no space for silence, no room for boredom, no practice in being alone. Every gap in attention is immediately filled by a screen, a ping, a scroll. And that screen doesn't just entertain, it conditions. It tells the brain that stimulation is survival, that constant movement equals meaning, and that if you're not visible, you don't exist. This isn't just habit, it's rewiring. Social media trains the nervous system to expect interruption. It fragments thought, dilutes focus, and weakens emotional depth. Young minds, instead of learning how to process discomfort, learn how to escape it, instantly, endlessly, addictively. The effects are deep. Patience fades, attention shortens, reflection disappears, emotional regulation weakens. The ability to listen, truly listen, becomes rare. Conversations turn into performances. Relationships become exchanges of curated content. People stop being people and become characters in a feed. You don't connect, you consume. And in this consumption, empathy withers, compassion dries. The eyes look at others, but the heart is elsewhere, numbed by the constant flood of artificial impressions. When the brain is constantly flooded with information, it loses the capacity to go deep. Everything becomes shallow, rapid, forgettable. And with that, a whole generation starts to drift. They don't know who they are without feedback. They don't know what they want without trends. They don't know how to trust themselves because they've been trained to trust metrics instead. They fear stillness, because in the stillness, the emptiness speaks. And rather than face it, they open another app, another video, another reel. The silence gets postponed, but never resolved. Social media doesn't just influence behavior, it sculpts identity. It defines what's desirable, what's valuable, what's acceptable. And if you don't fit, the pressure to conform becomes unbearable. Not through force, through absence, through invisibility. If the algorithm doesn't show you, it's like you don't exist. So you bend, you shape, you adjust, until your profile looks like everyone else's, until your thoughts echo what's already trending, until your inner voice gets drowned in the noise of what's expected. This system is not just addictive, it's controlling. It shapes thought, emotion, attention, even language. It decides what is visible and what is buried, what is praised and what is punished. And the more you rely on it to feel real, the more power it has to define your reality. You stop being the author of your life. You become a reactor, a responder, a puppet pulled by trends, swipes, likes, loops. A future shaped by this system is not free, it's engineered. It's optimized not for human potential, but for platform growth. The more fragmented the mind, the easier it is to manipulate. The more uncertain the self, the easier it is to sell identity. The more distracted the heart, the easier it is to redirect desire. And in this silent takeover, the cost isn't just mental health, it's soul health. It's the quiet erosion of authenticity, depth, sovereignty. And worst of all, most won't even notice it happening, because they'll be too busy scrolling. No one forces you to scroll. No one chains you to the feed. You open the app. You choose to stay. But that choice isn't clean. It's shaped, manipulated, built on layers of unexamined emotion, fear, insecurity, boredom, need. The system doesn't invade your mind with brute force. It seduces you with familiarity, with comfort, with the exact kind of distraction your unresolved wounds are hungry for. And because most people never stop to look inside, they become easy prey. Not because they're weak, but because they're unaware. It's not the platform's fault alone. The real doorway is internal. It's your craving to be seen, your fear of insignificance, your habit of reaching outside yourself for answers. These are the vulnerabilities the system exploits, and it does so masterfully. Every notification feels like attention. Every like feels like approval. Every follower feels like worth. But it's all temporary. It never fills the real emptiness. It only numbs it, briefly. And then you return for more. The cycle continues, not because it's powerful, but because you don't interrupt it. The deeper truth is harder to accept. You participate in your own manipulation. You give the system the data it needs to control you. You feed it your preferences, your habits, your fears. Every post, every pause, every share, it learns you better. And the more it learns, the more precise its grip becomes. You start to believe that the feed reflects your personality. But in reality, it's shaping it, guiding it, narrowing it. Your identity gets molded by what gains traction, what gets rewarded, what gets repeated. People talk about freedom like it's a choice. But choice without awareness isn't freedom, it's illusion. You can't reclaim your power if you won't admit how it was taken. And in most cases, it wasn't stolen. It was offered, willingly, in small moments, in unconscious habits, in the decision to avoid discomfort rather than face it. That's how the trap works. It doesn't catch you by force. It invites you to stay comfortable, distracted, passive. To break the cycle, the first step isn't deleting the app. It's facing yourself, looking into the mirror without filters, seeing your own patterns, your own shadows, your own role in the dance. Because once you name it, it loses power. Once you see it clearly, you can begin to choose differently. But until then, the system wins, not by overpowering you, by keeping you asleep, numb, looping in distraction while your real life drifts by. Real freedom starts with responsibility, not for the system, for your attention, for your mind, for your time. These are sacred resources, and when you treat them that way, everything changes. You stop being a product. You become a person again, a full, sovereign, living being who no longer plays by invisible rules, who no longer accepts crumbs of validation, who no longer fears silence. Because in that silence, you finally hear your own voice, not the voice the system fed you, but the one that was buried beneath all the noise. The system is powerful, but not unbeatable. Social media works because it feeds on unconscious behavior. It thrives when you're distracted, emotionally raw, or disconnected from your real values. But when you become aware, truly aware, of how it operates, something shifts. The spell breaks. The loop weakens. The power returns to you. And from that moment, you can choose, not impulsively, not reactively, but deliberately, with clarity, with intention. The first step is understanding the trap. Social media doesn't just waste time, it rewires your brain. Research shows that constant scrolling reduces attention span, increases anxiety, and lowers emotional regulation. The dopamine feedback loop, trigger, scroll, reward, creates a cycle nearly identical to drug addiction. This isn't metaphor, this is neuroscience. Platforms are engineered to exploit the same brain systems as gambling. The goal is not connection, it's compulsion. And like any compulsion, the way out begins with awareness and action. Tool 1. Intentional usage windows. Set strict time frames when you're allowed to use social media. No more random impulsive checks. Block off one specific window a day, 15, maybe 20 minutes, and stick to it. Use apps like Freedom or 1sec that interrupt you before opening platforms. That moment of pause creates space for choice. You reclaim the ability to decide rather than react. Tool 2. Device-free mornings and evenings. The first hour after waking and the last hour before sleep must be screen-free. These are sacred times for your nervous system. Morning sets the tone for your mind. Evening sets the tone for your rest. Don't let an algorithm write the script for your day. Protect that space with rituals, journaling, stretching, stillness. Let your mind remember what it feels like to breathe without input. Tool 3. Dopamine reset. When your brain is overstimulated, even simple pleasures feel dull. Try a full 24-hour digital detox once a week. No social media, no unnecessary screens. The first few hours will feel uncomfortable. That's withdrawal. But after that, something opens up. You start to hear your thoughts again, feel your own rhythms. This is your nervous system recalibrating, restoring its natural balance. Tool 4. Replace, don't just remove. Nature hates a vacuum. If you just cut out social media without replacing it, your mind will crave the stimulation and drag you back. So fill the space with something real. Read, walk, paint, talk, journal. Learn something physical, like playing an instrument or cooking. Let your body and mind relearn presence. Real presence, not performance. Tool 5. Audit and unfollow. Go through your feed and remove everything that triggers comparison, anxiety, or emptiness. Be ruthless. Your digital environment is just as important as your physical one. Follow accounts that inspire depth, truth, balance. Make your feed a reflection of your highest self, not your most reactive self. Tool 6. Real connection. Schedule face-to-face time with people who matter. Not messaging, not commenting, real presence, real conversation. Your nervous system heals in connection, but only when it's embodied, not mediated through a screen. You don't need dozens of friends online. You need a few humans who see the real you. Tool 7. Conscious silence. Every day, carve out at least 30 minutes of silence. No music, no talking, no scrolling, just you. This will feel foreign at first, even terrifying, but it is in that silence where your real self begins to re-emerge. Beneath all the layers of noise, there is a voice that remembers who you are. The truth is, Social media dependency is not your fault, but it is your responsibility. The system is built to overpower you, but you are not powerless. The human mind is resilient. Neuroplasticity is real. Your brain can heal, your habits can transform, your focus can return, but only if you stop feeding the machine and start feeding your soul. Let's be honest, these platforms are not evil. They are tools, but in the wrong hands, even a tool becomes a weapon. The question is, are you holding the tool, or is it holding you? Reclaim that grip. Redefine the terms. Decide with clarity that your time, your energy, your mind are sacred. Not for sale, not for rent, not for anyone's profit, but your own purpose. You don't have to vanish from social media, but you do have to stop being its prisoner. You can use it consciously, strategically, sparingly, as a servant, not a master. You can choose what to share. You can choose when to show up. You can log off, not with fear of missing out, but with pride in staying grounded. Real power is quiet. It doesn't need to be seen. It doesn't beg for likes. It simply is. And when you find that power in yourself, the algorithms lose theirs over you. This is not about deleting apps. It's about remembering who you were before them and building a life so full, so present, so true that no screen can compete with your reality. We're sure you've discovered plenty of value, so subscribe now and stay connected.